आज हम डिस्कस करेंगे SHA। उससे पहले हम देखेंगे हैश फंक्शंस। हैश फंक्शन जो है वो हैश फंक्शन को हम H से डिनोट कर सकते हैं। हैश फंक्शन को हम एक वेरिएबल लेंथ का ब्लॉक देते हैं लाइक m, और इस फंक्शन का ये काम है कि ये m ब्लॉक ऑफ डेटा के ऊपर हैश फंक्शन अप्लाई करता है और उसकी जो आउटपुट होती है वो हैश होती है। और ये जो हैश वैल्यू होती है ये एक फिक्स साइज हैश वैल्यू होती है। तो इसका जो मेन पर्पस है हैश फंक्शन का वो ये है कि डिफरेंट एप्लीकेशन में हाउ वी कैन इंश्योर डेटा इंटेग्रिटी। क्रिप्टोग्राफिक हैश फंक्शंस में हमारे पास जो एल्गोरिदम है, an algorithm for which it is computationally infeasible to find either a data object that maps to a pre-specified hash result, the one-way property. दूसरा जो इसकी प्रॉपर्टी है किसी भी क्रिप्टोग्राफिक हैश फंक्शन की वो ये है कि टू डेटा ऑब्जेक्ट्स दैट मैप टू द सेम हैश रिजल्ट, द कोलिजन फ्री प्रॉपर्टी। तो मतलब दो डेटा ऑब्जेक्ट जो है वो सेम हैश रिजल्ट के ऊपर मैप हो सकते हैं। इसकी जो प्रॉपर्टी ए है कि जो एक डेटा ऑब्जेक्ट है एक प्री स्पेसिफाइड हैश रिजल्ट के ऊपर भी मैप हो सकता है, या दो जो ऑब्जेक्ट्स हैं वो एक हैश रिजल्ट के ऊपर मैप हो सकते हैं। A hash function is any function that can be used to map data of arbitrary size to fixed size value। तो हम डिफरेंट साइजेस का जो डेटा है उसको एक फिक्स साइज वैल्यू के ऊपर मैप करते हैं। The values returned by a hash function are called hash values, hash codes, or simply hashes। इस फिगर में हम देख सकते हैं एक क्रिप्टोग्राफिक हैश फंक्शन h है जो प्रोड्यूस होता है आफ्टर अप्लाइंग h ओवर m ब्लॉक ऑफ मैसेजेस। तो इसमें जो इनपुट होती है वो मैसेजेस या डेटा ब्लॉक्स हैं, दोज आर ऑफ आर्बिट्रेरी लेंथ, आर्बिट्रेरी वेरिएबल लेंथ, जो हैश फंक्शन को इनपुट किए जाते हैं। और हैश फंक्शन इसके ऊपर एक फिक्स साइज का हैश वैल्यू फिक्स लेंथ की वो प्रोड्यूस करता है। तो इसमें जो इसके जो कंपोनेंट्स होते हैं वो पैडिंग प्लस लेंथ फील्ड होती है। फिगर 11.1 depicts the general operation of a cryptographic hash function. Typically, the input is padded out to an integer multiple of some fixed length, that is 1024 bits, and the padding includes the value of the length of the original message in bits. The length field is a security measure to increase the difficulty for an attacker to produce an alternative message with the same hash value। तो ये जो हैश फंक्शन है ये क्या करता है, दिस इज अ सिक्योरिटी मेजर, ताकि एक अल्टरनेटिव मैसेज वो प्रोड्यूस करे विद द सेम हैश वैल्यू। नाउ लेट्स सी अटैक अगेंस्ट हैश फंक्शंस। Message authentication is a mechanism or service used to verify the integrity of a message. Message authentication assures that data received are exactly as sent, that is, contain no modification, insertion, deletion, or replay. In many cases, there is a requirement that the authentication mechanism assure that purported identity of the sender is valid. When a hash function is used to provide message authentication, the hash function value is often referred to as a message digest। जब भी किसी के ऊपर हम हैश फंक्शन अप्लाई करते हैं ताकि मैसेज ऑथेंटिकेशन प्रोवाइड की जा सके, तो उस हैश फंक्शन की वैल्यू को मैसेज डाइजेस्ट कहते हैं। The essence of the use of a hash function for message authentication is as The sender computes a hash value as a function of the bits in the message and transmits both the hash value and the message. The receiver performs the same hash calculations on the message bits and compare this value with the incoming hash value. If there is a mismatch, the receiver knows that the message or possibly the hash value has been altered. तो सेंडर जब सेंड करता है मैसेज तो उसका एक जो नंबर जो उसका फिक्स साइज प्रोड्यूस होता है दैट इज द फंक्शन ऑफ द बिट्स इन द मैसेज. जो सेंडर है वो हैश वैल्यू और मैसेज दोनों को सेंड करता है. रिसीवर सेम हैश कैलकुलेशन उस पर अप्लाई करता है ऑन द मैसेज बिट्स और उसकी वैल्यू जो है वो कंप्यूट करता है और इस वैल्यू को रिसीवर जो है सेंडर की जो वैल्यू के साथ कंपेयर करता है. अगर तो मिसमैच होता है तो इट मीन्स कि डेटा इन बिटवीन चेंज हुआ है, मॉडिफाई हुआ है. The hash function must be transmitted in a secure fashion. That is, the hash function must be protected so that if an adversary alters or replaces the message, it is not feasible for adversary to also alter the hash value to fool the receiver. This type of attack is shown in figure 11.2b. Alice wants to send a message to Bob. Alice have a hash function and value, use of hash function to check data integrity, and Bob also has hash function to check data integrity. But in this scenario, man in the middle attack is possible. This type of attack as shown in figure 11.2. In this example, Alice transmits a data block and attaches a hash value. Dorothy intercepts the message, alters or replaces the data block, and calculate and attaches a new hash value. Bob receives the altered data with the new hash value and does not detect the change. To prevent this attack, the hash value generated by Alice must be protected. तो जब तक ये हैश वैल्यू बॉब तक सिक्योरली रिसीव नहीं होगी तो तब तक चांसेस हैं कि इसमें कोई भी एडवर्सरी या इसमें हैकर दरमियान में से मैसेज को इंटरसेप्ट करे, हैश वैल्यू को दोबारा कंप्यूट करे और बॉब की तरफ सेंड करे और बॉब यही कंसीडर करेगा कि ये मैसेज एलिस से आया है. तो इस तरह ये अटैक इसमें हो सकता है. Figure 11.3 illustrate a variety of ways in which a hash code can be used to provide message authentication. This is figure 11.3. Simplified examples of the use of a hash function for message authentication. Here we have source A and destination B. तो इसको देखते हैं. The message A, this is the A scenario. The message plus concatenated hash code is encrypted using symmetric encryption. तो इसमें जो hash plus message इनको encrypt किया जाता है using symmetric encryption. Same key is used to encrypt the message. Because only A and B share the secret key, the message must have come from A and has not been altered. The hash code provides a structure or redundancy required to achieve authentication because encryption is applied to the entire message plus hash code. Confidentiality is also provided. So in this way, by applying symmetric encryption on hash value and the message, we can ensure authentication and confidentiality. Because the secret key of symmetric encryption is only shared between A and B, That is why hash value and the message is secured and is not altered. Only the hash code is encrypted using symmetric encryption. But in this B scenario, the message B is sent and is encrypted. Using symmetric encryption, this reduces the processing burden of for those applications that do not require confidentiality. So if we only have to provide authentication, then we can only encrypt hash function and we do not need to encrypt message. In the C scenario, it is possible to use a hash function but no encryption for message authentication. The technique assumes that the two communicating parties share a common secret value S. A computes the hash value over the concatenation of M and S and appends the resulting hash value to M. Because B possesses S, it can recompute the hash value to verify because the secret value itself is not sent. An operand cannot modify an intercepted message and cannot generate a false message. So in this way, a hash message is encrypted with secret key and hash value will be computed at the destination. Confidentiality can be added to the approach of method C by encrypting the entire message plus the hash code. So in this scenario, we can achieve confidentiality by applying encryption over here. When confidentiality is not required, method B has an advantage over method A and D, which encrypts the entire message in the less computation is required. Nevertheless, there has been growing interest in techniques that avoid encryption. Encryption software is relatively slow. Even though the amount of data to be encrypted per message is small, there may be a steady stream of messages into and out of a system. Encryption hardware costs are not negligible. Low-cost chip implementation of DES are available. But the cost adds up if all the nodes in a network must have this capability. Encryption hardware is optimized toward large data sizes for small blocks of data. A high proportion of the time is spent in initializing invocation overhead. Encryption algorithms may be covered by patents and there is a cost associated with licensing their use. Now let's discuss digital signature. Another important application which is similar to the message authentication application is the digital signature. The operation of the digital signature is similar to that of message authentication. In the case of the digital signature, the hash value of a message is encrypted with the user's private key. Anyone who knows the user's public key can verify the integrity of the message that is associated with the digital signature. In this case, an attacker who wishes to alter the message would need to know the user's private key. The implication of digital signature go beyond just message authentication because it also provided the integrity of the message. Figure 11.4 illustrates in a simplified fashion how a hash code is used to provide a digital signature. This is a message at source A. The hash value of the message is encrypted using the private key of the sender and will be sent on the transmission line. Message will be received and it will be decrypted. The hash code is encrypted using public key encryption with the sender's private key. As with figure 11.3b, this is an example 11.3b. This provides authentication. It also provides a digital signature because only the sender could have produced the encrypted hash code. In fact, this is the essence of the digital signature technique. If confidentiality as well as a digital signature is desired, then the message plus the private key encrypted hash code can be encrypted using a symmetric secret key. This is a common technique. So in this way, a digital signature can be applied using hash codes. Commonly used to create a one-way password file, there are other uses of hash functions, like when a user enters a password, the hash of that password is compared to the stored hash value for verification. This approach to password protection is used by most operating systems. Hash functions can also be used for intrusion and virus detection. In this way, we can store hash function for each file on a system and secure the hash value. One can later determine if a file has been modified by recomputing h of f. An intruder would need to change f without changing h of f. Can be used to construct a pseudo-random function or a pseudo-random number generator. A common application for a hash-based PRF is for the generation of symmetric key. Now let's discuss requirement for a cryptographic hash function H. Table 11.1 lists the requirement for a cryptographic hash function H. Variable input size. H can be applied to a block of data of any size. The first three properties are requirement of a practical application of a hash function. One is hash function can be applied to a block of data of any size. Second is fixed output size. H produces a fixed length output. And third is efficiency. H of x is relatively easy to compute for any given x, making both hardware and software implementation practical. These three properties are used for the practical application of hash functions. And the fourth property, which is pre-match resistance, one-way property. For any given hash value h, it is computationally infeasible to find y such that h of y is equal to h. So this is one way method. We can map y to h, but we cannot map h to y. The fourth property, pre-match resistance, is a one-way property. It is easy to generate a code given a message, but virtually impossible to generate a message given a code. This property is important if the authentication technique involves the use of secret value. The secret value itself is not sent. And here we have fifth property. Second pre-match resistance, weak collision resistance. For any given block X, it is computationally infeasible to find Y not equal to X with H of Y is equal to H of X. The fifth property, second pre-match resistance, guarantees that it is impossible to find an alternative message with the same hash value as a given message. This prevents forgery when an encrypted hash code is used. Figure 11.3b and 11.4a. If this property were not true, an attacker would be capable of the following sequences. First, this is 11.4, A and B. If this property were not true, the fifth property of second pair image, then an attacker would be capable of the following sequences. First, observe or intercept a message plus its encrypted hash code. Second, generate an unencrypted hash code from the message. Third, generate an alternate message with the same hash code. A hash function that satisfies the first five properties in table 11.1 is referred to as a weak hash function. So if all these properties are true from second pair image to variable input size, then this type of hash function is called a weak hash function. If the sixth property, collision resistance, is also satisfied, collision resistance, strong collision resistance, it is computationally infeasible to find any pair x of y such that h of x is equal to h of y. If the sixth property, collision resistance, is also satisfied, then it is referred to as a strong hash function. A strong hash function protects against an attack in which one party generates a message for another party to sign. For example, suppose Bob writes an IOU message, send it to Alice, and she signs it. Bob finds two messages with the same hash, one of which requires Alice to pay a small amount and one that requires a large payment. Alice signs the first message and Bob is then able to claim that second message is authentic. The final requirement in table 11.1 is pseudo-randomness has not traditionally been listed as a requirement of cryptographic hash function but is more or less implied. In a research paper, it is pointed out that cryptographic hash functions are commonly used for key derivation and pseudo-random number generation, and that in message integrity application, the three resistant properties depend on the output of the hash function appearing to be random. Thus, it makes sense to verify that in fact a given hash function produces pseudo-random output. So this is the last property of pseudo-randomness. Output of H means standard test for pseudo-randomness. There are two categories of attacks. Those are possible on hash function. One is called brute force attack. It does not depend on the specific algorithm, only depends on bit length. If the bit length is small, then brute force attacks are successful. Otherwise, brute force attacks will take too long to compute a feasible amount of data. In the case of hash function, attack depends only on the bit length of the hash value. Method is to pick values at random and try each one until a collision occurs. Second type of attack that can happen on hash functions is cryptanalysis. An attack based on weakness in a particular cryptographic algorithm seek to exploit some property of the algorithm to perform some attack other than an exhaustive search. Next is the topic secure hash algorithm. Secure hash algorithm was originally designed by National Institute of Standards and Technology and published as a Federal Information Processing Standard in 1993. Was revised in 1995 as SHA-1 based on the hash function MD4 message digest and its design closely models MD4. It produces 160-bit hash values. In 2002, NIST produced a revised version of the standard that defined three new versions of SHA with hash value length of 256, 384, and 512, collectively known as SHA-2. A revised document was issued as FIP PUB 180-3 in 2008, which added a 224-bit version. In 2015, NIST issued FIP 1804, which added two additional algorithms, SHA 512-224 and SHA 512/256. SHA-1 and SHA-2 are also specified in RFC 6234, which essentially duplicates the material in FIPS 183 but adds a C code implementations. In 2005, NIST announced the intention to phase out approval of SHA-1 and move to a reliance on SHA-2 by 2010. Shortly thereafter, a research team described an attack in which two separate messages could be found that deliver the same SHA hash using 269 operations. Far fewer than the 280 operations previously thought needed to find a collision with an SHA-1 hash. This result should hasten the transition to SHA-2. This is a comparison of SHA parameters. In this table, all sizes are measured in bits. Algorithm SHA-1, its message size is 2 raised to power 64, block size is 512, and word size is 32. And this is a message digest size 160, SHA-224 generating 224, 256 is generating 256, and SHA-512 is generating 256, and word size is 64. The algorithm takes as input a message with a maximum length of less than 2 raised to power 128 bits and produces as output as 512-bit message digest. The input is processed in 1024-bit blocks. Figure 11.9 depicts the overall processing of message to produce a digest. This is a figure 11.9, which illustrates message digest generating using SHA-512. Here we have block size of 1024. The following general structure depicts in figure 11.8. The processing consists of the following steps. Step 1. Append padding bits. The message is padded so that its length is congruent to 896 modulo 1024. It means length is equal to 896 mod 1024. Padding is always added even if the message is already of the desired length. Thus, the number of padding bits in the range of 1 to 1024. The padding consists of a single 1 bit followed by the necessary number of 0 bits. In step 2, append length. A block of 128 bits is appended to the message. This block is treated as an unsigned 128-bit integer. Most significant byte first and contains the length of the original message before the padding. 128-bit is added with each block. The outcome of the first two steps yields a message that is integer multiple of 1024 bits in length. So this is the message of 1024 bit length. The expanded message represents as the sequence of 1024 bit blocks M1 to Mn, so that the total length of the expanded message is n star 1024 bits. This is the processing of a single 1024-bit block. Step 3, initialize hash buffer. 512-bit buffer is used to hold intermediate and final results of the hash function. The buffer can be represented as 8 64 bits registers like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, S. These registers are initialized to the following 64-bit integers hexadecimal values. So these are the 64-bit 8 registers, and these are initialized with the values like A is 6A09 and like these values. These values are stored in big endian format, which is the most significant byte of a word in low address, leftmost byte position. These words were obtained by taking the first 64 bits of fractional parts of the square roots of the first 8 prime numbers. In step 4, process messages in 1024 bits, 128 word blocks. The heart of the algorithm is a module that consists of 80 rounds. This module is labeled F in figure 11.9. So this is the block F module function of the SHA. And the logic is represented here. Step 3 initializes hash buffers. These values are stored in big endian format, which is the most significant. These values are stored in big endian format, which is the most significant byte of a word in the low address. These words were obtained by taking the first 64 bits of the fractional parts of the square roots of the first 8 prime numbers. In step 4, process message in 1024 128-bit words blocks. The heart of the algorithm is a module that consists of 80 rounds. This module is labeled F in figure 11.9. The logic is illustrated in figure 11.10. Each round takes as input the 512-bit buffer block value A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H and updates the contents of the buffer. At input to the first round, the buffer has the value of the intermediate hash value hi minus 1. Each round T makes use of a 64-bit value WT derived from the current 1024-bit block being processed. These values are derived using a message schedule described subsequently. Each round also make use of an additive constant kt where 0 is less than equal to t and where t is less than equal to 79 indicates one of the 80 rounds. These words represent the first 64 bits of the fractional parts of the cube roots of the first 80 prime numbers. In step 5, output after all n1024 bit blocks have been processed, the output from the nth stage is 512-bit message digest. This is the SHA 512 constants, and here we have creation of 80 word input sequence for SHA 512 processing of signal single block. This is the logic for SHA 512. The secure hash algorithm are a family of cryptographic hash functions that was published by NIST as US Federal Information Processing Standard. SHA-0 Retronym applied to the original version of the 160-bit hash function published in 1993 under the name SHA. It was withdrawn shortly after the publication due to an undisclosed significant flaw and replaced by the slightly revised version SHA-1. SHA-1, a 160-bit hash function which resembles the earlier MD5 algorithm. This was designed by the National Security Agency to be part of the digital signature algorithm. Cryptographic weaknesses were discovered in SHA-1 and the standard was no longer approved for most cryptographic uses after 2010. SHA-2, this was a family of two similar hash functions with different block sizes known as SHA-256 and SHA-512. They differ in the word size. SHA-256 uses 32-byte words where SHA-512 uses 64-byte words. There are also truncated versions of each standard known as SHA-224, SHA-384, SHA-51224 and SHA-512-256. These were also designed by the NSA. A hash function formerly called KICKAC, chosen in 2012 after a public competition among non-NSA designers. It supports the same hash length as SHA-2 and its internal structure differs significantly from the rest of the SHA family. The corresponding standards are FIPS PUB 180 original SHA. NIST has updated draft FIPS publications standards separate from the secure hash standards.